What is up, everybody? It's Vince with Green Joe Coffee School. In this video, it's a counterpart to the last video I made, which was how to find a location. This video, we're going to talk about how to approach those landowners, those business owners, those property management to get your coffee truck into their location. Now, I've gone in a couple different locations with this. If you're new to me, my name's Vincent. Green Joe Coffee School is the school the business that I run. We teach people how to open up coffee trucks, trailers, and carts. And so I've been doing this about 9 years. I've set up in a bunch of different locations, and over time I've kind of learned that there's different things that make different people tick. And so you got to kind of get a read on it in order to find out what you're going to need to do in order to set up. Now, if it's a small business, most of the time I just go in and start shopping at the small business. That's the first thing I do. So whatever it is that they have, I'm going to try to get something. I'm going to try to build some rapport, and I'm not going to branch off about, hey, I want to open up my coffee truck at your location just yet. Okay. That's usually, I just like to get things started. With this, I'm getting a feel for them. What I'm looking for is like, do I want to do business with this person? Because sometimes you go to do business with someone and then you find out they're a real jerk and you're like, I don't want to do business with this person. So it's good to just get a feel for that. So if everything looks good, you feel pretty good, then from there, I usually just mention, hey, I'm opening up a coffee truck. And I just see if that sparks their interest, if they're going to come to me right away and be like, oh, we would love to have a coffee truck here. If that's the case, then I know right away that we're going to move into a good relationship. It gives me a nice warm fuzzy. If that's not the case, then you're going to have to kind of piddle around and kind of figure out what makes them tick. Now, sometimes, I'll give you a couple examples. One guy I went to and I offered money. That was my mistake because he had just retired. He had closed his mechanic shop. This is during the pandemic. He was like, you know what, screw it. It's a good time for me to close. So he retired. So money to him was not a big concern. When I mentioned that I teach people how to open up coffee trucks and trailers, that is what caught his attention because he's retired. So for him, what's more important than getting extra income in, $3 measly $100 from me, he's more concerned about building his legacy. And so that was for him what helped us go into the business deal, was like, hey, I'm going to be using this space to teach people how to set up drive-through models and this type of thing. And so he was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. I'm totally into that. There was another one where it was an empty vacant lot, and the guy had been trying to sell it. So if the guy's trying to sell it, what's going to make him tick? He's trying to sell it, right? So for him, the argument that I made was that it's going to bring more visible traffic into his location so that people will actually see how profitable that location can be. And so that was what made him tick. So you just got to get a little bit of a read on people and just kind of find out like, oh, okay, I see where you're going with this. And then when you make your pitch to doing business with them, you make your pitch in such a way that you're going to highlight their values, you're going to highlight their mission, and then you're more likely to get them on your team, So that's what's worked for me in the past. Now, where I've really struggled is with the larger national companies. Those ones I've had a hard time with. Usually you got to have some kind of rapport with your local GM. He's going to be your gatekeeper. He or she's going to be your gatekeeper. And what I've found is it just depends on how much they support local business. So I'll give you an example. So I've tried to set up in Home Depots and national company. I know from the other forums that other coffee trucks have done really well there. But in my particular city with my GM, they don't want to do that because they're like, oh, it's going to be like a risk hazard. Like if we let you set up there, then that's going to increase our liability, right? Is his thing. So he was more concerned about risk adversity as opposed to helping small business. As opposed to some of the Ace Hardwares in my city have been really open to helping small business out. So it just kind of depends on the national company and the GM, and you got to get a read on it. I would highly encourage, don't do this stuff through email, don't do this stuff through text message. Get down there, shake a hand, get in front of them, introduce yourself, say you're a small business, try to kind of ring those bells that that are going to encourage people to help you out. I'm a small business. I'm just getting started. these type of things. I just left a corporate job, because some of these people are in a corporate job and they can relate to your frustration. So those are the type of things. And then ultimately, whoever you decide to go with, whether this is a national company, a small business owner, property management, any of those good folks, you're ultimately going to have to share your insurance with them. And what it is you make them a holder of your insurance policy. Now, I would have that squared away before I actually went in, just so that they can have that warm and fuzzy. I would also know my numbers. I would be like, I got a $2 million general liability policy for slip and falls. I will absolutely make you a holder of that, so that we alleviate any responsibility from my business on your property. It solely falls onto me, and so that they have that nice warm fuzzy when it comes time. Now from there, it comes down to the money. Like how much should I spend in order to do business? So here's where I stand on this. Unless you have an absolutely magnificent location and it's going to pop off and it meets all the criteria, great morning vehicle traffic, slow speed zones, great visibility, easy ingress, able to get in, get out easily, all these things. If all these things are beautiful, then I'm likely to pay an upfront dollar. If I'm not seeing that in the equation, I'm going to pitch the concept of, let me do my first month for free. And so, I'll do, if it's a small business, I'll say your staff can have free coffee, that type of thing. We'll do free coffee for the first month, but I'm going to try to arrange this so that I can test it. And if it's profitable, then I can run my numbers and I can go, okay, this month I made $5,000. We're going to call that $4,200 net. After I deduct everything, we'll just say that I'm down to $3,500 net. And so, if I'm talking about monthly expenses, blah, blah, blah. And so at that point I go, well, 10% of that is 350. I'm going to try to shoot for maybe 5% of that first and just see if they'll take it. Okay, how about, 175 a month? And then of course they're going to come back and say, no, I don't think that's really good. And then you go, okay. And then you can kind of bump it up to there, until you get into a place where you feel comfortable. 10%, 15% is pretty reasonable. When you start getting into 20% of your net, then it's like, man, I don't know about that. You gotta be making some really good numbers. So that's kind of the framework that I use. I mean, obviously this is your business and you have to decide what's going to be best for you. You're going to know the ins and outs of that location. You might be like, well, it's not the greatest location, but it's next to a high school with a lot of people and they're going to buy a bunch of Frappuccinos every day. Okay, cool. Great. You're going to know your business more than I do. So, but that's the framework that I use when it comes to picking out, or not picking out a location, but talking to, landowners, small business owners, blah, blah, blah. Hey, my name is Vincent. This is Green Joe Coffee School. We help people build coffee trucks, trailers, lots of education, ebooks, and courses. So visit the website if you're interested. Thanks.